We're on our way to the Point Reyes National Seashore. We've been here a couple of times over the years, and each time we started with the visitor center. When you enter the visitor center, you're greeted by a large elephant seal. And as you make your way around, you can learn a lot about the plants and animals that can be found along the beach and in the forest. Of course, there are also some displays where you can learn about not only the animals that live near the ocean, but also the ones that live in the ocean. There are also some exhibits that share some interesting history of the area. The next point of interest you might want to check out is the Earthquake Trail, and it's directly across the street from the visitor center. This gray building behind me is a bathroom, but it marks the start of the Earthquake Trail. This is a very popular place for people to visit, but there are not many people here today. The San Andreas Fault runs right through Point Reyes National Seashore, and we'll see some clear evidence of that pretty soon. Well, I can't just leave my camera here. During the 1906 earthquake, one side of the fence here jumped 16 feet. It all happened in less than a minute. So in 1906, they would have been standing right next to each other, and in 1 minute, they would have been that far apart. There's a more historic representation of the space in the fence. We've been to Point Reyes a couple of times over the years, and all we've ever looked at was the visitor center and the Earthquake Trail. But this time, there's much more that we'd like to see. There's a lighthouse we'd like to have a look at. Point Reyes is also known for having a Tule Elk herd. The elk were once wiped out but have since been reintroduced. And this is also the time of year when the elephant seals are giving birth. And the goal for us this time is to see all of those things. But before we head over to see the lighthouse, we need to find some lunch.
They're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Oh, okay. So we won't be eating here then. Well, we wanted to get something to eat, and one restaurant here is closed, and the other one was just a little market that had some pre-made sandwiches and wraps and salads that were way more than I want to pay for some pre-made food. So we're gonna go find a different restaurant. We found a place to eat lunch. This place closes for lunch at 3 o'clock, and we arrived at 2:30, so we got kind of lucky there. The prices here are pretty steep, but we didn't have a lot of choice at this point.
I am looking forward to this.
I got the same thing. It's expensive, but delicious. Well, for 3 of us at that place with tax and tip, it was about $85. But it was probably the best chicken sandwich I've ever had in my life. It was really good. After lunch, it was time to head over to the lighthouse because we have 3 goals for this trip. See the lighthouse, see the elk, and see the sea lions. It's a bit of a drive from the restaurant to the lighthouse, and in the time it took us to drive over there, quite a bit of fog had rolled in. But we did see some elk along the way. That's one mission objective accomplished. See the elk. It wasn't much further until we arrived at the lighthouse. Well, at least the parking lot. We still had to walk a mile before we could actually see the lighthouse. Well, we drove down to the end of this peninsula, and rumor has it there's a lighthouse down here, but I don't know if we're going to see it. I might accidentally walk into it first. Confirmed, there is a lighthouse here. Let's see if we can actually see it. How you doing there, Dawn?
Shut up.
I'm going to interpret that as I'm having a great time, but this hike is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hike.
It's uphill.
We're running uphill, so.
And it's kind of cold, so we're moving fast to stay warm, but gets the heart rate going. I'm pretty sure that's the ocean right there. We might be getting close to something. There's the Lighthouse Visitor Center, but we got here too late to go inside. Hard to see much with all the reflections, but that's all we can see because it's closed. All right, let's see if we can see the lighthouse. There it is. Boom. Wasn't that awesome? I guess this demonstrates why they needed a lighthouse in the first place. Because you can't see a darn thing. It looks like this particular mission objective was a fail. Well, we weren't able to get up close enough to actually see the lighthouse, unfortunately. But there's still a little bit of daylight left. And I'm hoping that we can see the elephant seals. When we were at the visitor center earlier, one of the rangers there said that an elephant seal gave birth less than an hour before we got there. And they had some cameras with a live feed. And you can actually see the mother and baby on the beach. So if we're lucky, maybe we'll get to see some elephant seals before the sun goes down. We came out to the spot where we think we're supposed to be able to see some elephant seals. That is, if we're able to actually see anything. It's not quite as foggy down here as it was up at the lighthouse, but it's still pretty foggy.
I hear a lot of sound, so that's probably where we need to go.
Yeah, let's go down there and see what's up. Well, there's some confirmation that we're in the right place. Well, this is as close as we can get without breaking the rules and being in a really dangerous situation. Well, you can see some shapes through the fog. Some of those shapes are rocks, but some of them are elephant seals. They're so hard to see, however, that I would consider this another fail. But all hope is not lost. We spent the night at our hotel, got up the next day, and the weather is nicer than it was yesterday. Not as foggy, so we might just be able to see that lighthouse today. The visitor center is still closed. The stairs that go down to the lighthouse are still closed, but if we're lucky, we'll at least be able to see it. Although they weren't on our list of goals that we wanted to accomplish on this trip, we did get to see some more wildlife. There were quite a few deer along the walking path as we made our way back to the lighthouse. If you remember what this looked like yesterday, I'm pretty sure that's the ocean right there. It's clear that visibility is a lot better today. This is the moment of truth. We'll see if we can actually see the lighthouse.
There it is.
The stairs leading down to it are closed, but there it is. I'm sure if we were able to go down the stairs and get up close, it would probably be more impressive. But I have to admit, I thought the lighthouse was going to be bigger. But we saw it. Check that one off the list. The last thing we need to do before we leave is to see if we can get a better look at some elephant seals. Starting to get a little foggier. Hopefully we'll be able to get a good look at the elephant seals. It is foggy today, but the fog is not as dense as it was yesterday. Well, I can't see them yet, but I can hear them. That group that we just looked at, we were able to get pretty close. We were on a little bit of a cliff, but it was probably only about 40 or 50 feet off the ground, and they were right there on the beach at the bottom of that cliff, so got a pretty good close look at them from there. There's another beach with a whole bunch more. Those ones are hard to get close to though, because they have the trails closed off. Well, I think that was a success. We saw the elephant seals. Far more impressive than the lighthouse too.
There were one baby per mom down there. They're all having babies today and yesterday.
Well, I think that's going to do it for our visit here to Point Reyes National Seashore. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
It was amazing.